In the secluded mountain town of Pinecrest, nestled among towering evergreens and jagged peaks, lived Emilia Blackwood. A forensic entomologist by trade, she spent her days examining insect activity on corpses to determine time and cause of death. Little did she know her expertise would soon be put to the ultimate test. Emilia's life took an unexpected turn when a series of bizarre murders began to plague Pinecrest. The victims were found in carefully arranged tableaus, their bodies adorned with rare and exotic insects. As the town's only bug expert, Emilia was quickly pulled into the investigation. The first victim was discovered in the town's only bookstore, positioned as if reading a massive tome. Butterflies of various species were pinned to the pages, their wings spread in a mesmerizing display. The sight sent chills down Emilia's spine, but it also awakened a deep curiosity within her. As she examined the scene, Emilia noticed something odd about the insects. They weren't just any butterflies. They were extinct species, some not seen in over a century. How had the killer obtained such rare specimens, and why use them in this macabre display? The second victim appeared a week later, this time in the local museum. The body was posed next to a dinosaur skeleton, with prehistoric-looking beetles crawling over the victim's skin. Emilia's expertise revealed that these, too, were extinct species, perfectly preserved and somehow brought back to life. The town was in a frenzy. Locals began to whisper about dark magic and mad scientists. But Emilia knew there had to be a logical explanation. She threw herself into the investigation, poring over entomology journals and reaching out to colleagues around the world. As the body count rose, so did the complexity of the insect displays. Each crime scene was more elaborate than the last, featuring combinations of extinct and endangered species that shouldn't exist together. Emilia found herself both horrified and fascinated by the killer's knowledge and skill. The police were at a loss. They had no leads, no suspects, and no idea how to interpret the bizarre insect clues. Emilia became their lifeline, working tirelessly to decipher the messages hidden within each grisly tableau. Weeks turned into months, and the case consumed Emilia's life. She barely slept, her apartment walls covered in photos of crime scenes and insect diagrams. Her friends worried about her obsession, but Emilia couldn't let go. She felt a connection to the killer, a shared passion for the intricate world of insects. As winter settled over Pinecrest, blanketing the town in snow, the murders suddenly stopped. The police breathed a sigh of relief, but Emilia knew better. This was just another phase in the killer's game. She was proven right when spring arrived, bringing with it a new wave of murders. This time, the victims were found in natural settings: caves, forests, and mountain peaks. The insect displays grew more complex, incorporating living ecosystems that shouldn't be possible. Emilia's reputation grew. She was invited to speak at international conferences, sharing her insights on the case. But with each presentation, she felt a growing unease. Was she playing into the killer's hands, giving them the attention they craved? Back in Pinecrest, Emilia noticed subtle changes in the town. New faces appeared, claiming to be tourists or nature enthusiasts. But their eyes held a gleam of something darker, a hunger for the macabre spectacles that had put their quiet mountain town on the map. As summer approached, Emilia made a breakthrough. She noticed a pattern in the insect species used, a complex code that pointed to specific locations around the world. Each murder scene was a snapshot of an extinct ecosystem, perfectly recreated down to the smallest detail. Armed with this knowledge, Emilia convinced the police to set up stakeouts at potential future crime scenes. Night after night, they waited, watching for any sign of the elusive killer. Their patience was rewarded when, on a moonless night, a figure emerged from the shadows of the forest. Dressed in dark clothing and moving with practiced stealth, the killer approached their chosen spot. But before they could set up their grisly display, the police pounced. In the chaos that followed, Emilia came face to face with the murderer. To her shock, she recognized him, Dr. Adrian Foster, a renowned entomologist she had admired for years. His eyes gleamed with a mixture of madness and triumph as he was led away in handcuffs. The trial that followed captivated the world. Dr. Foster, it was revealed, had developed a way to clone extinct insect species from ancient DNA. His murders were a twisted attempt to recreate lost ecosystems and draw attention to the plight of endangered insects. Emilia testified at the trial, her heart heavy with a mix of horror and reluctant admiration. She understood the passion that drove Dr. Foster, even as she condemned his actions. In the end, he was sentenced to life in prison, his groundbreaking research confiscated and locked away. As life in Pinecrest slowly returned to normal, Emilia found herself changed. The case had awakened something within her, a deep appreciation for the fragility of life and the interconnectedness of all living things. She threw herself into conservation efforts, using her newfound fame to raise awareness about endangered insect species. She traveled the world, giving lectures and leading expeditions to document rare bugs before they disappeared forever. But at night, in the quiet of her home, Emilia would sometimes find herself staring at the photos from the case. The beautiful, impossible displays of extinct life haunted her dreams. She couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story, secrets still waiting to be uncovered. Years passed, and Emilia's work gained international recognition. She was offered a prestigious position at a top university, far from the mountains of Pinecrest. As she packed up her life, a small package arrived at her door. Inside, she found a single butterfly, its iridescent wings unlike anything she had ever seen. A note accompanied it, written in a familiar hand. For the one who truly understands, the game isn't over. Emilia's heart raced as she examined the butterfly. It was a new species, one that shouldn't exist. She knew she should report it, turn it over to the authorities. But as she held the delicate creature in her hands, she felt the thrill of discovery, the pull of a mystery yet to be solved. With trembling fingers, she placed the butterfly in a secure container and tucked it into her luggage. As she left Pinecrest behind, Emilia knew her life's work was just beginning. The game had entered a new phase, and this time she was determined to stay one step ahead. The university welcomed Emilia with open arms, eager to benefit from her expertise and notoriety. She set up a state-of-the-art lab, ostensibly for her conservation work. But behind locked doors, she began to study the mysterious butterfly. Months of research yielded incredible results. The butterfly was a hybrid, combining traits from multiple extinct species. Its very existence defied the laws of nature and everything Emilia thought she knew about genetics. As she delved deeper into her secret research, Emilia began to receive more packages. Each contained a new impossible creature, a beetle with bioluminescent patterns, a dragonfly with wings that could change color at will. And always, there was a cryptic note, hinting at a larger plan. Emilia knew she was walking a dangerous line. Her rational mind told her to turn everything over to the authorities, to stop this madness before it went too far. But her scientific curiosity, the part of her that had always pushed boundaries, urged her to continue. She began to see patterns in the specimens she received. Each one seemed to be adapted for a specific environment, some of which no longer existed on Earth. It was as if someone was creating a Noah's Ark of insects, preparing for a future that only they could see. Late one night, as Emilia pored over her notes, she received a video call from an unknown number. Her heart pounding, she answered to find herself face to face with Dr. Foster. He looked older, his eyes sunken but still burning with that familiar intensity. "Hello, Emilia," he said, his voice soft. "I've been watching your work. You've come so far." Emilia wanted to end the call, to report it immediately. But the questions that had been burning inside her for years came pouring out. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you do it? Why are you still doing this?" Foster's face softened, a sad smile playing at his lips. "Because someone has to," he replied. "The world is changing, Emilia, faster than anyone realizes. We're the only ones who can preserve what's being lost." As he spoke, Foster revealed the true scope of his plan. A secret network of scientists and conservationists, working to save not just individual species, but entire ecosystems. The murders had been a desperate attempt to draw attention to their cause, to recruit those who could truly understand the magnitude of what was at stake. Emilia listened, her mind reeling. Part of her was horrified at the lengths Foster and his allies had gone to, but another part she had tried to ignore for years understood their desperation. As the call ended, Foster left her with a choice. "Join us," he said, "and help us save the world, or turn us in and watch everything we've fought for crumble to dust." The screen went dark, leaving Emilia alone with her thoughts. She looked around her lab at the miraculous creatures she had been studying. She thought of the rapidly changing world outside, of species disappearing every day. In that moment, Emilia Blackwood made a decision that would alter the course of her life and potentially the future of life on Earth. She picked up her phone, her fingers hovering over the keys. But instead of calling the police, she began to compose a message. "I'm in," she typed, her heart racing. "Tell me what I need to do." As she hit send, Emilia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. For years, she had been running from the darkness she had glimpsed in Pinecrest. Now, she was embracing it, turning it into a force for change. The game had indeed entered a new phase. And this time, Emilia wasn't just a player, she was helping to write the rules. As dawn broke over the city, Emilia began to pack. She knew that by nightfall, her old life would be nothing but a memory. But as she looked at the butterfly that had started it all, its wings shimmering in the early morning light, she felt no regret. The world was changing, and Emilia Blackwood was changing with it. The true challenge and the real mystery was only just beginning.